Oh, do I feel good today? What is up, DTL Universe? It is Thursday. Let me check my notes. Halloween, and we weren't about to dress up. We're serious here at DTL. I'm your boy, the coach, and I am feeling good today. Just like a lot of people out here on the West Coast where I get up every single morning at about 5:15 a.m. You could still hear all the celebrating going on last night. The greatest comeback in the history of the World Series in a clinching game. So we've got so much to talk about. Also, week 9 of the NFL kicks off tonight with the Texans and the Jets. We'll break down that game top to bottom, left to right. Now, a little housekeeping before I bring in the best crew in the building. Yesterday, what do we always say? It was a light day as far as picks that happened on Wednesday. We had a full set of picks, but a lot of them were NFL, college football, etc. But we did go 3-2. So that's a very nice day. Now, we've got full days of content every single day. Easiest thing to do. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, subscribe, hit that like button on the way in, and share the show with everybody. Now, as you know, we are live on Stadium. Also, Weekend Wages, brand new show, 3 p.m. Eastern time, every single Friday. Football Friday as well. They get a little bit of hockey in there as well. And don't forget about DTL, the podcast. The audio drops every single day at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Our premium members, you get the video around 2 p.m. Eastern time as well. We are also live on Stadium. Do not forget, wherever Stadium lives, that's where we are. Amazon Prime Video, got the big screen on right next to me. YouTube TV, Roku TV. Also in a couple of weeks, less than 2 weeks, we start on Direct TV as well. Now, we got a lot to talk about, a lot of reaction, and I had to call in my man. I thought I was going to be talking about a Game 5 victory, but that's not what we're talking about today. So, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, love all of you. It's time for the picks. And I got the best crew in the business right here. Look who I've got right now. And boy, I know where I've got to start, and I apologize. I did not want to do this. I thought I was going to be celebrating, talking about heading back to L.A., but Big Tommy C, our resident Yankees fan. Sir, I don't like to ask you, but I got to. How do you feel this morning, sir?
Like somebody hit me with a sledgehammer last night. Like, let's say in the 5th inning. Hey, coach, we played softball for a long time. We've never had an inning like that where you missed a fly ball. I'm a pitcher. I would never cover first, and Volpe would throw the ball over to third and not even reach the guy. It was just incredible. Judge went from hero to GOAT in 5 minutes. My question at the Judge is, you've been playing at that stadium for how many years now? Why are you looking at Kiki Hernandez? He doesn't go nowhere. You catch the fly ball. That's what you do. Hey, Garrett Cole, you know what you do? You cover first base. And that was the game right there, folks, because the Yankees didn't tack on runs. The Dodgers were relentless the whole time, and that's why they're the world champs, and we're not.
All right. Well, there's your Yankee fan reaction right there in a nutshell. Now, the next man, he's live from Memphis, Tennessee. He's all over the Grizzlies. He's our NBA aficionado. If you're new to this program, DG, good morning, sir.
Morning, coach. Good morning, crew. What a great day to be here. It's Thursday. There's so many sports happening. I'm excited. Let's get it going today.
All right. Our man's been all over. There's been a lot of cup games this week. It's a little bit different than your league games. It's different than your Champions League games as well. He is the man from the dirty. Big Chuck. Good morning.
Morning, Coach, crew. Excited to be back. Congratulations to all the Dodger fans and happy Halloween to everyone. Excited to get it going.
It just kind of snuck up on us. I can't even believe it's Halloween today. I have no candy. If you're a kid out there and you're watching the show, first of all, you got a problem. Second of all, do not come to my house. I got nothing for you. Now, Raphael, you feel like a guy that would do the big bars today. You doing the big bars today?
Of course I do the big bars. I think I wouldn't be the cool guy to live next to it, but I have a bonus stat of the day for today. I'm going to give it out today. The Milwaukee Bucks have the most wins on Halloween. Of all sports, the Milwaukee Bucks, their winning percentage is .824 on Halloween. Do you know who they play today, Coach? The Memphis DGs.
I do. The Memphis DGs tonight is who they play?
Yeah, they play them -6.5 as a road favorite. Wow. I didn't make that up, DG. I was writing it up. I'm like, oh, my God, I didn't know they're playing Memphis.
Very interesting. 4 games tonight in the National Basketball Association. Coming up in about 45 minutes, we'll hit on a few NBA games as well for you OGs that watch on our YouTube channel. Real quick, Lord Farquhar says, I remember back in the day it was mentioned about DTL After Dark. Does that still happen? If so, what days does it happen? Lord Farquhar, are you serious right now? We have DTL Primetime Live. It's the same thing 3 nights a week. Does it still happen? Thursdays, tonight, live on Stadium, a full hour breaking down Thursday Night Football. The Jets hosting the Texans, then Sunday night and Monday night. Does it still happen? Stop it, Lord Farquhar. Now, DG, let me come over to you. I think Tommy did a really good job before we get to the picks of breaking down last night, but we're talking about historic about what happened in the Bronx last night. There have been 234 teams in the history of the World Series that have led by 5 or more runs. 7 now have come back to win the game. It's never happened in a clinching game. That's what the Dodgers did last night. And Aaron Boone said he's heartbroken. He says, I'm devastated. This one's going to hurt for a while if you're a Yankees player and or fan.
Yeah, that was the I know this is a stat that most will not be shocked by, but it's the most unearned runs for a team in the World Series facing elimination. Like, that just can't happen. And honestly, they did it to themselves, so they have no reason to be upset with anybody. They didn't hit right. They honestly didn't, field right. And they didn't execute when they needed to. And so in the end, they looked themselves in the mirror. It's a season that's going to suck. And you got a lot of big decisions that they're going to have with Juan Soto in the offseason.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Juan Soto in about 20 minutes. Raphael, let me come over to you because the Yankees 15 years. And we know when you're in New York, when you're a star like Aaron Judge, and you're going to make 40, 50, 60, $70 million when the lights are the brightest, you got to show up. First home run of the series last night, back-to-back with Jazz Chisholm. And I think there was this feeling of maybe this will be special. Maybe this will be a scenario where they win last night, go back to L.A. and shock the world. But now Aaron Judge is going to have to sit at home all offseason long and listen to the voices something a captain should never have to do. But this is what playing in New York is all about.
He's going to be like Randy Orton all summer long, listening to the voices in his head. That's the problem he's going to be. I'm sorry about Aaron Judge. I forgot he hit a home run, to be honest with you, because after they tied the game, I literally forgot he hit a home run in that game. There's a lot of question marks coming to the Yankees. Is Boone going to be there? Is Soto going to be there? They need to get younger. They need to be more professional on the bases, steal some bases, get some walks. It's not always about the long ball. And again, Tommy, I'm sorry. Maybe mute your mic, but when are we going to call the Yankees the Los Angeles Lakers or Dallas Cowboys of football and baseball?
Wow, you got to go there today. You can't give Tommy even one day to sulk in his Yankeeisms. Yeah. Matt, by the way, says no big decision to make there. Give Soto the bag. We're going to have the odds of that coming up here in about 16 minutes or so. Chuck, let me come over to you because we played basically the over every single game. Last night, it went over in the 5th inning. I don't know that I've ever seen a team fumble the bag, so to speak, and when you don't cover first base like Garrett Cole did. And then I don't know if he was disgusted with himself because he said afterwards a lot of quotes. I think he was, but I don't know what he was thinking. First thing you do when you're a pitcher, you cover first base. They score the first run, then a single, then a double, and it was a tie ball game literally in about 3 minutes.
Out of spring training, that's one of the first exercises that the pitchers do. And I was amazed because I was watching the timeline with the score. It had 5-0, and I saw that. So I thought I wasn't sure what exactly happened, and I saw that play. But I know that they posted BetMGM posted an image and said that the Dodgers were plus 1,200 to come back to start that inning to win the game when they were down 5-0. So yeah, what a shock! It cashed a lot of tickets, a lot of props, everything cashed pretty much in that particular inning.
Brentley says that Big Chuck hit every one of his World Series bets last night in the 5th inning. LOL. Little joke. But you might have. We all might have in that stupid inning. 5-5. Wow. All right, we've got to get to our picks for the day. And I'm telling you what, I am fired up today. I know a lot of you out there, I hate this matchup on Thursday Night Football. That usually means it's a really good game. 6-2. Against 2-6. We'll get to the preview coming up in about 7 minutes. But DG, let me start with you. What straight plays or props do you have for us today?
Yeah, we're going to go with the Tulane and Charlotte game going into the NCAA football, but I'm going both teams to score there in the first quarter at plus 130. Tulane has the 8th best first quarter scoring team in the country. And Charlotte, they've been good as of late, scoring 7 in the last 3. So I'm going to go with the both teams to score there in the first quarter at plus money. Then we're going to go to Giannis. Yes, it's the Halloween Bucks. We're going to go with Giannis to have 12 plus rebounds at minus 115. It's a little different than the over 11.5 simply because it had better odds. It's minus 120 for over 11.5 at FanDuel. I got 12 plus at minus 115. So I just kind of shopped around within their site. But the Grizzlies allow the top 10 most rebounds to the power forward and center position. 2 days of rest for the Halloween Bucks. We're going to go with Giannis, 12 plus rebounds at minus 115.
I love how we're branding everything here at the show. Even the Halloween Bucks and the New York Carlucci's. Everything gets a name. Everything gets a name. By the way, do you have to do the post-game show tonight? Do you have your post-game?
Yes, again.
Dude, you're a weekend and you sound like, oh, my God. It's 1st of March. We're 43 games in and they suck. It's week 1.
The last night was the best show that we've had in a long time. It was great, but man, Memphis is burning down because the Grizzlies are playing so bad. It's on fire.
Man, and those 8 people who watched last night, you said it's your biggest show yet. I mean, they loved it. They absolutely loved it. All right, Big Chuck, let me come over to you. You got 2 big plays today. What do we got?
Serie A, Genoa, Fiorentina. We have 2 more teams that just tend to hit the back of the net when they play one another, with both teams to score in 5 of their last 6 meetings. So play number 1, both teams to score. NHL, Montreal, Washington, the Habs, they come in averaging 3 goals per game, and the Capitals averaging 3.17 goals per game. I'll take the over 6 that has also cashed in 8 of their last 10 encounters.
I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You said back of the net, correct?
That's correct, Coach.
Back of the net. Okay. I could have swore I heard something else. You don't want to know what I thought I heard.
I kind of want to know.
Yeah, I know. By the way, our man Soupy is in the chat right now. If you have any questions for him, football-wise, fantasy-wise, he does a little hockey too, put them into the chat. He'll answer them for you in real time. Raphael, let me come over to you, big boy, because I know you've got not 1, not 2, 3 big plays today. Let's go.
Yeah, when you don't sleep, you do a whole bunch of plays. Give me the Texans tonight. Team total over 20.5. I can't believe it was even money. Since that loss to the Vikings, they're averaging 26 points a game. And the Jets in the month of October, they're giving up 27 points per game. So I think this one easily hits with the even money. And then give me Joe Mixon over 110 rushing and receiving yards. He's hit 3 straight rushing yards over $100. Just give me 1 screen pass, let him roll. We'll cash this ticket pretty easily. And then Devin Booker over at Phoenix in the NBA, over 2.5 3-points. They played the Clippers a couple of days ago. He hit 4 3-pointers against them. I think it's going to be another high-scoring game in Phoenix, and Booker hits 3s all over the court.
Oh, I tell you what, last night there was this big thing going on in radio out here. The Clippers had a home game at their new arena. A bunch of people had tickets to the game, but then other people flew to LA or to New York and were giving up their tickets for it was a weird thing on the radio last night, but a bunch of giveaways of Dodger fans. Wouldn't it be nice just to fly to New York, buy tickets to game 5 for $1,500 a piece and watch your team and then give away the Clippers? And then tonight they play at home again. By the way, DG, your crew in the chat has your back. Big Cheesy. Oh, how soon we forget, Coach, that your show used to have just 8 people watching it too. I don't ever remember being at that level, Big Cheesy. I'm telling you what, DG, your boy Big Cheesy's getting on my last nerve. My last nerve.
It's what you call ride or dies, Coach, because last night you said 8. I felt like it was like 1.8 thousand people, I believe. I saw that number. I don't know about you.
So we're bragging about 1,800 people now. Very interesting. Very interesting. By the way, DG will step into the Stadium Amazon Prime host chair for the very first time for Prime Time Live on Sunday. So all of you people who love yourselves a little DG, tune in Sunday night. Help a brother out. See if we can hit those commercial times like we're about to do right now. Still to come here on the show, we're going to educate and entertain. Where will Juan Soto end up next year? And also Thursday Night Football, we dive into it, Texans and the Jets. It's a good vibe on a Thursday morning right here live on Stadium. All right, all you degenerates out there, you OGs watching on our YouTube channel. Raphael, I got to come over to you because tonight The Texans are a first-place team in their division. Another team announced yesterday, Anthony Richardson. At least he's going to get a lot of time on the sidelines now, even if he's not tired. He's benched. Joe Flacco, 55 years old, will be the starter for the Colts. Do you agree with that?
They had to. I mean, probably just morale in the locker room was probably just a give and go to say, hey, we need to bench this kid. And again, he's a kid, and he got in trouble because he opened up his mouth and he was honest. If I was him, I would say, hey, I had to go to the bathroom. I have a cramp, something. You don't say I'm tired, but he's being punished for what the youth is doing now. The youth is very honest. They're very well-spoken and to talk about their feelings. That's what happened. Now he got benched.
Big Tommy, let me come over to you because we're talking about a team in Indianapolis. They're 2 games back. They're 4-4. They're certainly not out of it. But to change your quarterback now after what happened last week, it's certainly not a good look for Anthony Richardson.
No, not when you tell somebody you're tired and you're like 23 years old and you're a big stud athlete. I don't get that at all. And you got an old man like Flacco. Actually, the team has played better with Flacco, right?
Yep.
So it's a great move by the coach. You can't tell somebody you're tired. You're a young guy. It just hurts the whole morale of the team, like Raphael said. And he's going to learn from this.
I hope so, Big Chuck, because if he doesn't, he's not going to have a very long career in the NFL. And he's the best athlete at the quarterback position right now in the entire league.
Exactly, but he's still a project. And usually these coaches that want to let him develop lose their jobs. So Stinky Leg knows if he's going to keep his position with the Colts, that he does need to roll with Flacco as his best chance of keeping or retaining his position.
Thank you, Lay. DG, I got about 15 seconds for you.
Yeah, like if you look at the props now, Pittman is good, Downs is good. Those are guys that are going to get a lot of more receiving yards, but also receptions there with Flacco under the helm.
All right, very, very good. So we'll see what happens. But Indianapolis, I didn't even look, to be honest with you, who they play this week. Anybody know off the top of their head? This week it is
the Vikings.
Vikings.
At Minnesota. Yeah, interesting. That'll be a big one. All right, we are back on Stadium and Amazon Prime, YouTube TV, all the good stuff in 5 seconds. All right, welcome back. Having a good day so far. We're running 5 wide here on DTL. Do not forget tonight at 7 Eastern time, we are live on Stadium, Amazon Prime, all those good channels and platforms for Primetime Live, the Texans and the Jets. And I got to tell you, today, our Thursday night football preview is brought to you by In Theaters November 8th, Weekend in Taipei.
You said no more secrets.
Shut up and let me drive. Okay, Mom, who is this guy?
I'm an undercover DEA agent. To find and take Kwong's operation now.
Bring me my wife, and you killed John Mahler.
So you came back after all this time for Kwong, but not for me?
I just take 1 weekend. I'm not gonna lose you again. So you haven't changed a bit.
Thanks.
Weekend in Taipei, only in theaters November 8th.
I cannot wait for that one. The last time we had a movie run through this place, it was Reagan. Turned out to be the #1 movie in the country because you guys supported it. Let's support Weekend in Taipei. Now, DG, let's start with you as we put up the graphic on tonight's Thursday night football game, and it's still a Jets favorite game. And a lot of people look at the records, they go, how in the world? What in the world are we doing? But 1.5, the Jets are 2-6. Texans come to town as the underdog. Explain that to me.
I don't get it. I looked at the schedule this morning for the Jets, and they've obviously lost to the 49ers, and there's really nobody that they played well against. They played New England twice, which was there. They played the Titans. Like, there's not been a lot that they've had to, like, big quarterbacks. The best quarterback outside of maybe Purdy has been Bo Nix that I've seen, and they got beat by the Denver Broncos. So I don't expect this team to look good tonight, and I'm curious if Houston does end up getting an upset win.
We've seen a lot, Charles, of these primetime games, specifically Thursday, because teams want to get in, they want to get out, then they get the 10 days off. It's a big deal, especially if you win the football game. And this feels like the books are saying maybe the Texans have had too many brutal matchups, or maybe it's just they refuse to admit where Aaron Rodgers is right now in his career.
I think this is a Jet spot. I think it's going to be lower scoring. Plus, we have to equate in the injuries to Collins and Diggs, so that has to be measured into the line. So I think this is definitely a Jet spot. I think it's lower scoring. So if they're ever going to rally the troops and win one, I think it's tonight.
I apologize because right now, you know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at our gorgeous faces on Amazon Prime. I'm looking at Weekend in Taipei all over stadiums. So I'm literally making a video during the show. It's called Next Level Hosting right there. Just let it roll. Tommy, as I roll on Stadium and Amazon Prime, let me come over to you because you live in the Northeast. You're a New York guy. And when it's good, it's great. When it's not, it's absolutely horrible. And we have guys talking about dark places. We have, you got to be comfortable in the dark places. No, we don't. Because right now you've got to understand that if they go to 2-7 tonight and they do it at home, after the Yankees blow it, after the Giants suck, everybody stinks except for the Knicks. This could be one of the worst 10 days off we've ever seen for a New York team.
Yeah, it's probably going to happen too, Coach. I don't understand how they are favored in this game. I want to know how they're going to keep Rodgers upright with Will Anderson and Devontae Hunter because the left tackle's not very good and the right tackle's not very good. I know they want to get the ball to Garrett Wilson, but you have to keep him upright, and I don't see that happening at all. I think Houston can run the ball. They can run it down their throat. They can still pass. They still have, I think, Dalton Schultz as their tight end. So I can't see any way how the Jets are favored in this game at all.
It's really, really interesting. It really is. I mean, everybody, we have really smart people. There's other shows that have really smart people. Not as smart as us, but they have smart people. And I haven't seen one person that has said, well, this is why. Because, Raphael, we have talked about this. I feel like they're on primetime every single week. And against the Bills, they went out, laid an egg, lose by 3 at home. Maybe the books are looking at that game, which was a Monday night game, and say, well, you know what? They're just good enough. Or is this still disrespect? Because Stroud's numbers have not been gigantic, but he's been good enough in year number 2.
I'm going to explain why this number is. This has probably been the most asked question besides who's going to win next Tuesday night, in my point of view. The reason why the Jets are -1.5 or 2, public money all over Houston. Houston money, parlays coming in, but the wise guy action is all on the Jets. They took him early when it was 1, bet it all the way up to 1.5, bet it all the way up to 2. Now, if you're an odds maker like I was many years, you don't care who's the quarterback. You don't care who's injured. You don't care what team, their record. It's the money coming in, how you're going to get two-way action. You had to make the Jets the favorite today to balance that two-way action. Because, again, Joe Public going to be all over the Houston Texans. Going to look at the ESPN site. Ooh, C.J. Stroud. Oh, they're great. Offensive line stinks for the Jets. But when that big money comes in, I'm talking 6 figures money, we need to balance that balance out so we can get 50-50 action on the game. That's why the Jets are 2-point favorites and are probably going to stay a favorite all game long.
And that's why you have the numbers guy on your team dropping the mic. It's not always just about what the number should be. It's what it should be for the books not to lose their shirt. Thank you, Raphael, very, very much. Now, we'll have a full breakdown, and coming up in about 10 minutes, we're also going to compare the numbers for quarterbacks, the top rushers, and the top receivers in the game tonight. But right now, we've got to look at a little something else. We've got a little segment we like to call Educate, Entertain. Now, there were some stories coming out last week that maybe the LA Dodgers were interested in one Juan Soto. But it just so happens we have a man on our team who makes the odds for said things. So, Raphael, big boy, I'm coming back over to you. We've got a few different odds today. I want you to take us quickly through it. And let's start with this, and then we'll just real quick, everybody go yes, no, and a very quick thought on this. Where'd you come up with this number?
It was close to $550 million when we first opened this up, I think, over the summer. And then just the way he's been playing for the Yankees before the playoffs, we bumped it to $600 million. So what Juan Soto's contract would be when he signs over $6 million minus $140. I think he gets this. What do you think, Coach?
All right. I think he gets it too. And in the chat, we want you to play along. I just need yes and no's on the questions. Tommy C., do you think over 600.5 or under 600.5?
Definitely over, guys. It's going to go over. Yes.
Definite over. Big Chuck, let me come to you.
Make that a over as well, Coach.
You can give me I think I cut Tommy off. You can give me at least 1 or 2 sentences. It's okay. DG, over or under for you?
I think it has to be the time. And I think you look at the, I guess, whoever's making the contracts, they want this to go over because it's only going to grow everybody else. And so they want it to be the biggest contract ever.
But let's remember, there's never been a contract in Major League Baseball at that 10-year mark that has ever delivered for the full 10 years. You're paying for about 5 or 6. That's the max. All right, Raphael, what's our next number that we're working with?
The next number was Juan Soto. Will he be a Yankee next season? Yes, -$4. No, +250. Yes, was close to $8 about a month ago. So you can do the math on what's coming in right now.
Tommy, is your squad going to spend to get him?
I think you have to spend. This is a generational player. He just turned 26 the other day. And if I'm Hal Steinbrenner, he doesn't want to lose Soto to the New York Mets. And Cohen's going to come up with a big-time pocketbook for Juan Soto. So to stay alive here in New York, they better sign him.
4-1, though. I don't know, Big Chuck, if I can bet this.
Well, if you think he's going to be, I think they're backed into a corner. I can't see any other way that he's not back with the Yankees, especially the postseason he had paired with Judge. So that $4 may be a value. It may even go up. We just have to wait and see. But I would have to roll with the yes at this point in time.
I think we all agree, DG, it's going to be a yes. But I think they made the number to the point that this is going to be a bet very few people make.
Yeah, the only way you can bet this is it to the no, but I think you have to look at Juan Soto. The next 10 years, where are you going to play? What state are you going to live? What city are you living in? And so I think he has to decide for himself kind of where he wants to set himself up the next 10 years.
He did not like playing in San Diego. That's crazy, though. I don't know why. I would pick San Diego. 10 years, $600 million. You can't get much better than that. All right, producer man, switch to the next one. What do we got? I think the next one is teams. There you go. Raphael, talk to me.
If not the Yankees, where does Soto land? Mets 2-1, Phillies 5-1, Cubs 7-1, Jays 8-1, Red Sox 9-1. I'm gonna give you 2 bonus ones right there, or not one that's not on the list. The Giants. Keep an eye out for the Giants. They are 10-1. They missed out on Judge. They've missed out on a lot of big names, and I'm hearing the Cubs are gonna open up the checkbook.
And now Buster Olney is the kind of the head guy out for San Francisco, so he's a players executive. Big Tommy. Who do you think on this list should be the favorite? Should it be the Mets?
It's definitely going to be the New York Mets. If anything, Cohen wants to drive the price up, so he drives the price up for the Yankees. So he wants to kind of stick it to his crosstown rival. I think the Mets, and I think the Phillies might make a little solid run on him a little bit too also.
It feels like, Charles, that the Phillies, they've had 3 or 4 good years with Bryce Harper, and they have all this momentum, and then they just kind of peter out in the playoffs. They need to make a splash, but a $600 million splash?
I don't know if they could go all in, especially with the contracts they already have. I would think it would be the Mets. They definitely need another left-handed bat in that lineup. But I would pencil out the Jays and the Red Sox because I think the Yankees would just overbid them to keep him out of the division. So I would say Mets, Phillies would be my top 2 for sure. But at this point, Mets, because he would just stay in New York where he's already comfortable.
So far, we've got the back of our numbers guy. DG, do you agree or disagree?
It's hard to tell, but if I looked at Brettley, who's in the chat, saying that Soto's mentor is the Phillies hitting coach. He has close relationships with a lot of the guys already on the team. That would be a good get. It would be a short-term window that would be completely open for them in Philadelphia.
And you start to wonder, too, where all we talk about is the 10-year deals. And maybe he says, you know what, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have $700 million and be stuck in one place for 10 years. Maybe he gambles on himself and says, you know what, I'll take a 4-year, what's that, 250, maybe 5 years, 300. And then because he's so young still that he could get another big deal. But I think these teams that just lock in the 10-year deal, like that's the number. There's never been one, not Trout, not Machado, not Tatis, not A-Rod, twice. None of them have lived up to 10 years in anywhere close. Albert Pujols played in the Angels 20 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. That was about a 3-year deal. And I think they're still paying him. I think so. Just so bad. All right, Juan Soto, you have the world in the palm of your hand. We'll see where he goes next year. Of course, we'll monitor here right on DTL. All right, props. What are we betting tonight on quarterbacks, on running backs, on receivers? You know we break it down as we cross the bottom of the hour. It's Thursday night football day. It's week 9. Just getting things started. It is DTL in the morning, live on Stadium. All right, all of you degenerates out there, we continue as we cross the bottom of the hour. And as we head into week number 9. At this point, and we're going to get into Aaron Rodgers after the break, but DG, let me come over to you because I've been saying that for a long time. If you're an NFC team, you better be elite, or at least your record better be elite, because you got 3 teams with 6 wins already in the AFC. You've only got Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Houston, and Kansas City, and then there's a huge drop-off after that. Which conference do you think is going to be harder to get into the playoffs this year?
Dude, that's so tough. The NFC is crazy. I'd say, honestly, the NFC East is what I'm looking at because there's a lot of good teams in it, but they're not very good. So they're kind of be fighting against each other. So that's the conference I'm looking at. Washington's sleeper in that conference.
6-2, 5-2 there in the NFC East, no doubt about it. The North has 2 teams with 6 wins so far this year. Tommy, what do you think?
I definitely think it's the NFC. I agree with Dan. It's definitely the NFC. The AFC is just kind of weird. I mean, look at the Chiefs haven't played great ball. They're undefeated, right? And then you got Buffalo. Who's after Buffalo in the AFC East? I can't even think of a team that's good enough. Miami stinks. The Jets horrible, right? The North is always tough, but I still think it's the NFC that's tough. That's
One team in the AFC East, Tommy, has more than 2 wins. One, that's the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
Raphael, let me come over to you. He's right. The AFC East, Buffalo could cruise to the playoffs at this point.
How come no one mentioned the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC? They're 6-2. I mean, they're rolling. But I'm going to say the NFC North. This is a great division. I know we're all bashing the Bears still because of what happened, but all you need, if you're a Bears fan, just play another game. You're at Arizona. You could win that game. I think the NFC North has to be. They still have 3 teams that can probably make the playoffs.
No doubt about that. Big Chuck, I got about 15 seconds for you.
Definitely NFC, in particular because of the NFC North, and the NFC West is competitive as well. But you put all those 4 teams that could literally make the playoffs coming out of that North, so should be quite interesting.
I don't know that I've ever looked forward to the second half of an NFL season more than I'm looking forward to this second half, which also includes the college football playoff rankings. We are back on Stadium in just 5 seconds. All right, we have crossed the bottom of the hour. It's 10:32 in the East, 7:32 in the West. If you are watching later in the afternoon, we also replay at 4 p.m. Eastern time on Stadium, Amazon Prime, YouTube TV. You know the drill. Today we're going 5 wide. Big Tommy's here. DG, Raphael, and my man from the Dirty, Big Chuck is here as well. And the chat, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, it is popping. Just keep the conversation going. That's what we love the most. Now, speaking of conversation, gentlemen, there was a lot made of a tweet set out by a man named Rich Cimini, and he covers the Jets for ESPN. I worked with him, not really around him, but with him during my time at the Worldwide Leader. And there's been a lot of talk about Aaron Rodgers. So here's what Rich put out, and I want all of your reactions to it. Everybody in the chat, I want your reactions to. Aaron Rodgers says Thomas Morstead has introduced him to the fountain of youth, cayenne pepper and water. Rodgers says that he's gassing up with it and feels great physically this week. Cayenne pepper and water can have several health benefits, including pain relief. Full disclosure, I had to Google that. So says Rich Cimini. Raphael, let me start with you. At this point, is there anything we haven't heard about Aaron Rodgers, the inside of his body, and then apparently the outside as well?
I think I'm going to ask him to be my cardiologist. What if cayenne pepper can cure AFib? Because that'd be fantastic if it does. And cayenne pepper and water, is that what you drink all the time down in the dirty South, Chuck? I mean, it's probably just your normal drink of water.
Absolutely. It's good for circulation. Absolutely. Some good old cayenne pepper and water. That's been an old remedy around these parts for years.
I literally have never heard this until this moment. Wow. Matty Ice says cayenne pepper plus water with a few cucumber slices. Tommy, that's always been in your diet. You love yourself some cucumber.
Oh, yeah. I love cucumbers, and I love – hey, you know what cayenne pepper burns? Your throat. That's what it burns. This guy is off his rocker. I swear to God. He just tries everything, and I'm just tired of it. They're killing him on WFAN, the big news sport, the news radio station here. People are just laughing at him, and it just becomes to be a joke. And, Aaron Rodgers, you know what? Have your team win a game. How about that?
Yeah, how about that, Aaron Rodgers? How about you win a game? By the way, speaking of the fans, did you guys see who Mike Francesa was watching the game with last night?
Barstools.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, Mike Francesa and Barstool Sports are not exactly the two brands that you would think would go together.
Right.
And somewhere, DG, his agents are telling him, hey, Mike, you want to be cool? Go hang out with the Barstool guys. And he said, oh, okay, I'll go watch game 5 just like that. Francesa, he's only, I think he's 92 now at this point on the fan. DG, your thoughts? Is Aaron Rodgers just completely gone for all of us?
A lot of times when you don't know really who you are, you're kind of trying to find your identity. You're kind of searching. I feel like that's what Aaron Rodgers is doing right now. I think he's lost it. He doesn't know who he is, and he's trying to just find something that sticks to make him feel good about himself.
I think that's a great take. And I think sometimes we forget that these players are also human beings. And I know we make fun of Aaron Rodgers a lot, but there comes a point in your life, especially when you're like early 40s. He's been through a bunch of high celebrity romances, and sometimes you start to feel lonely. We know his family doesn't talk to him at all. So maybe this is just him going through kind of a midlife crisis, but he's doing it in front of all the cameras in New York. And so maybe it's not always funny, even though a lot of what he says is funny. All right, we got to compare because a lot of people love to bet on props. So we do this at this time of the week every Thursday and every Monday as well. So, DG, I'm going to start with you. Let's compare the quarterbacks tonight. C.J. Stroud, his number is 222.5. I said that he has not been great as far as yards are concerned, so you can see his number where it's at. Aaron Rodgers is 232.5. Are we going over, under either one of these?
I would go on the under of CJ Stroud, and that might shock some people, but it's simply because I think that they're going to have to establish the run game there and going against the Jets. And so I think the Texans try to establish that run game, and CJ Stroud goes under the passing yards.
Maybe, as I said, they get in and they get out. We can keep it right there. I kind of like seeing, Raphael, where you're at, right over Aaron Rodgers, because people love still, as much as they're frustrated, they just love betting into the guy who I think is the same guy that won a Super Bowl 13 years ago now. Over, under either guy here.
I like under on both. DG's correct. CJ Stroud, that's why I like Mixon's rushing and receiving yards. CJ Stroud's under 222, and Aaron Rodgers 232. No way he does that. He's only been averaging low 200s in his last couple of games. There's no way he does 232.5.
Big Chuck, over to you, big boy. Which one do you like here? Are you leaning into either quarterback and their yards?
I like both under as well, especially with the receivers, top 2 receivers being out for the Texans. And word is there's heavy winds in New York going to be this evening, upwards to 20 miles per hour. So I think the running game will be crucial for any of these teams getting a victory.
Do not tell the Jets kicker, because the last time he kicked in this stadium, wide left. He couldn't even kick one to cut it to 10 or cut it to 7 against the Bengals. Couldn't even do that. Tommy, let me come over to you. I'm a big C.J. Stroud fan, but we've seen a lot of times so far this season. Hell, we saw Jared Goff last week, 52 points, only 85 yards passing. It doesn't always translate into big yards. Your thoughts?
No, I think I agree with everybody else. I think it's both going to go under. And by the way, today it's supposed to, and I'm in the Northeast, it's supposed to hit 80 degrees today, which is unheard of. So the weather's not going to be a problem. I don't know how much about the wind, but I don't see, the problem is Aaron Rodgers has to stay upright. He is not going over 232. And I think Stroud is going to just run the ball down the Jets' throat. So I think both of them are going to be under tonight.
All right, very good. So I saw somebody in the chat said that the over for the Texans has come in a lot. Last week, 43, 46, 52, 43, 44. So they have had, especially the last 5 weeks, they have had fairly high-scoring games for them. All right, let's go on the ground tonight. We've got 2 really good runners. Joe Mixon, who I forget sometimes is playing for the Texans, and then Breece Hall, who's kind of like Garrett Wilson, DG, is that he's a phenomenal talent, but he's on a team that can't figure out how to always get him the ball. There are the numbers according to DraftKings. Let's start with Joe Mixon. Does he go over or under his? And then you can go to Breece Hall.
Yeah, I think Joe Mixon goes over tonight. I think the Jets are suspect on their run defense. And then with Breece Hall, I believe he would go under because they do rely on Allen as well, which is the backup there for Hall. And then one more thing on that, Coach. Greg Zuerlein was placed on the IR yesterday. And so he is completely out of this game. So I'm not exactly sure who's kicking for New York Jets, but it looks like Zuerlein is out tonight.
They should call that kicker. I don't know if you guys have seen this online. the former kicker of the Colts. He's out of the league now. He's doing a video every single week that kind of he picks one kicker that had a big week, and then he goes out on the practice field. And last week somebody made 7 kicks for some team, the last one being a 59-yarder, and he reenacts it because he's trying to get a job back in the NFL. It's kind of cool, and he went like 7 for 7. I do way too many deep dives. I know that. All right, Raphael, coming to you. Joe Mixon, Breece Hall, either guy going over tonight?
You know my feelings about Mixon. I have him over already at 83.5 and 110.5 for rushing and receiving. But I think Breece Hall has a good game. I think not everyone's going to realize that it's going to be a running game for both sides. So I'll take him going over receiving yards. I can see screen passes and stuff like that. 67.5 for his receiving yards seems kind of low.
CID says Mixon over 20.5 attempts rushing. He likes that. Big Chuck, let me come over to you. Do you like the running backs tonight? Do you agree that it's going to be get in, get out? Game could last about 2.5.
I like the running backs in this one. I like both overs. Mixon's went over this. It looks like 3 of his last 4, and Breece Hall 2 of his last 3. I think they're going to really depend on them. Both defenses there, but assume they would try to take away the passing game. So, yeah, I see a heavy running attack from both sides.
Big Tommy, running for you.
Yeah, I think they're both going to go over. Breece Hall needs to have a big game in order for the Jets to try to move that ball, because I think it's going to be very hard for Aaron Rodgers to throw the ball tonight. With those 2 defensive ends, and their offensive line is just not great. And I love the way Joe Mixon runs, so I definitely think he's going to go over with the Jets tonight.
He almost looks like the same guy who was great as a rookie when he had that dynamic speed. Sometimes when you change uniforms, you change cities, and you change cultures, sometimes that helps. And Texans right now have a fantastic culture. Now, what about the wide receivers? There's some big-time names on the field tonight. Garrett Wilson, you guys know how much I love me some Garrett Wilson. And last week, he's been getting at least 5 catches, almost right on the number every single week as well. But these are his yards. And Tank Dell, he's kind of the guy now, DG. They've been suffering some injuries. So I think that's the biggest reason. This is the biggest reason why the Texans are the underdog here tonight.
I'm going to go with both guys under, and that might shock some people just because I don't think Tank Dell has been their real possession receiver for CJ Stroud. And so I think that he could get close to that line. I think he could get close to 50-ish yards. But all in all, I don't think he goes over. And then Garrett Wilson, that number is pretty big. The Texans are fairly stingy against wide receivers. And so I think that is a running game, but also I think he goes under on Garrett Wilson.
And we also have to remember, Raphael, that part of Garrett Wilson's production now is going to be cut into because they've got Devontae Adams. And his number is lower than Garrett Wilson, but he's still a guy that we know Aaron Rodgers is going to look for. So last week, I hate using the word screwed. It's gambling. I get it. But he was on 5 catches. He's been getting 8, 9, 10. He's been getting like 15 targets. And that is now ended with Devontae on the team.
You should just call your book and see if you can get a refund like everyone else does when they lose. I feel like Wilson from Home Improvement like this, as someone in the chat says, look at from Wilson from Home Improvement. But I like both guys to go under on this one. But I'm going to do a little backtrack. Over money has been flying in on this game since we've been on the air. We're not shocked if we see 43.5 by you guys jumping on tonight on TNF primetime.
All right, Big Chuck, your thoughts on the receivers tonight?
I like under on both. Also, I think the Texans are going to rely on their running game, Mixon, and then Garrett splitting the receptions with Devontae. I'm also on the unders.
Tommy, talk to me, big boy.
Unders for both, Coach. Like I've been explaining, keeping Aaron Rodgers upright is going to be tough, and they also have Devontae Adams. And I think Stroud is just going to run the ball down the throat of the New York Jets. So I think both are going to be under.
And this is why I think both are going to be over. Tommy, I'm looking you right between the eyes tonight. This is going to be one of those shake 'em up nights, guys. The Jets, they're still in the NFL. They're still a team. They still have smart coaches. They realize that what they've done lately does not work. And I think if the Jets get an early lead, then CJ Stroud and the entire Texas offense will be forced to throw the football. And even if we've got guys that we don't know who's going to have, last week we had Tyrone Tracy, for God's sake, at 145 yards. These are very, very difficult props. Be very careful on Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, and on Monday Night Football. But again, tonight, primetime live at 7 Eastern time. We'll break down all of these. We've got the no-fly zone, all of it. But be very careful when a team doesn't have their full complement of receivers. All right, still to come, we've got the whip around. We look ahead to Sunday Night Football and a busy weekend, the last weekend before the college football rankings come out. It's DTL Live on Stadium. All right, we continue on here on our YouTube page. And DG, tonight we've got 4 big games on tap in the National Basketball Association. And your Memphis Grizzlies welcome Milwaukee to town. We heard the trends at the top of the show. But I want to know, because the NBA always doesn't get a lot of attention till Christmas Day, really. What's the vibe like right now in Memphis with Ja back, but some negative stories on him this week? What's the feel there?
It's burning. The entire city's on fire. Everybody hates the coach. Everybody wants the owner to show up. He's somewhere in another country. Like it's crazy. And that's what fans do. Fans are going to fan, and that's cool. And I enjoy it. It's just hard when you're in the media trying to like establish, kind of a little bit of just pump the brakes. And I don't want to do the whole Aaron Rodgers relax, but I'm over here like Raphael, like everybody just chill out, pump the brakes. It'll be fine. But the NBA season, it's hot. It's really good right now.
I don't think that fans because Memphis only has this. They don't have an NFL team. You don't have a Major League Baseball team. This is everything for them. And Raphael, when you've got a talent like Ja Morant, yeah, he's been in his own way, but you need to love him as much as possible, because life without a talent like Ja Morant is a life that nobody wants to fill full time. Nobody.
I agree. When he's healthy, I love watching him when he's healthy. But if it's burning, that means the barbecue is going to be good tomorrow in Memphis if Memphis is burning. I just want to know if the Grizzlies can play defense. This total opened up at 223.5. It is now 232.5. Do they play defense in Memphis? I guess not.
Big Chuck, your thoughts tonight? Memphis getting front and center. Just 4 games, though, on tap.
That's what caught my eye, how much that total rose. It went up to almost 8 points. So, and it looks like the Bucks are getting the love. So it's looking like they expect the Bucks to come out and have an impressive game and plenty of points. But I thought the Grizzlies were going to be a sleeper team this season. I thought that was the word coming into the new 24-25 season.
Maybe it was.
They're still
Maybe
sleeping.
it is.
They're sleeping.
Maybe it's still to be. Yeah, they're still asleep at 2-3. This will be their 6th game. They always pile games at the top of the season. Now you got the that tournament coming up, which I really like the in-tournament season. So hopefully you guys enjoy the NBA. We're back on Stadium in just 5 seconds. Really good live number this morning. We just a little bit left. Don't forget, if you missed any part of the show, you can watch our replay at 4 p.m. Eastern time in the afternoon. We start the afternoon block, and then we hand it off to our guys over at You Better You Bet. Then we'll take it back at 7 Eastern time as we count down on Primetime Live to the Texans and the Jets tonight. I'm your host, the coach. Now, our next Primetime Live show here on Stadium will be Sunday Night Football. And, Raphael, I'm going to start with you because the Minnesota Vikings, and when you look at the NFC North, they were 5-0. They were the toast of the town. They were the last undefeated team in the NFC. But now they've lost 2 games in a row. They lose to the Lions, a really physical matchup. And then that's what happens after you play the Lions. Then you lose the next one. So now not only are they not tied for first, they're not tied for second. They're 2.5 games out. Or you know what I mean? They're 5-2. They've had their bye. Is this a get-right spot for the Vikings Sunday night? They get the whole night to themselves.
I'm just happy that this was the flex game, because the other game that was supposed to be on here was going to be a stinker. So I'm just excited for this. I think Minnesota bounces back, but you have to realize, yeah, they started off hot. But you know, when you start winning games, people watch your film a lot more. So maybe that's the reason why they took a couple of steps back. But you lost to the Lions. That is not a bad loss. You played them hard. You got the L, move on. But I think they move on and get the W this week or Sunday night.
But then they go on the road, Big Chuck, and they lose 30-20 on Thursday Night Football. And I feel like that every team that plays on Thursday Night Football feels like it's 3 weeks ago when it's 10 days off. So now they've had to sit around for 10 days and figure out how they've lost 2 games in a row. But they're favored by 5 against a team that's going to have Joe Flacco starting at quarterback for them. Is this a get-right spot for the Vikings?
It has to be with those 10 days rest, even against the Fighting Flaccos. I would expect them to come out motivated to reverse that Rams debacle they had last Thursday. So you would think so. And it looked like we may even see some points in this one. I was originally thinking we would see an under, but 2 teams that play indoors, so we may even see a little bit of points on Sunday night.
God, I would love to see that, because I won't be here it's going to be all about DG. Let me come over to you because TJ says the Lions exposed some of the tells that the defense has when they stake the line. They figured that package out home thing. All right, we'll try that one again. But you understand what TJ is trying to say, that we're at the middle point of the year. And if you're a really good coaching staff, you start to look at tendencies. You start to look at different things. And I think it also goes back to how we approach our prop betting, our straight betting, now that defenses are figuring out certain offenses like the Vikings. Yes?
Live Sunday night football. We have the Vikings and the Colts, hosted by your boy DTL Primetime Live. Coach, we're going to have some points in this game. It's going to be great. Both teams struggle on the two wide receivers. Both teams struggle giving up passing yards. I think the ball is going to be flying over. We have the crazy Floccos are going to be back. And so I'm excited to watch this game. I think it got even more exciting now that Anthony Richardson is out.
I got to be honest with you, Tommy. You know how I am about letting the reins go, right? So
Yes.
I have a father-son event with JJ. So I was like, do I tell my son no? And we've all looked our kids in the eyes when they go, Dad. Or do I let DG host Primetime Live and put our stake in the network on the line? Literally on the line. So, Big Tommy, you may be on Primetime Live Sunday. Who knows? I don't know.
We should run a
Vikings
rerun instead.
Oh, my God. I'm calling them right now, by the way. Tommy, your thoughts? Nobody's going to be talking about the Colts this week except for the quarterback change. At 4-4, they've kind of been like what I like to call ho-hum. Not the Vikings, but you cannot be losing games when you're in a division that potentially has 3 playoff teams, and the Bears coming off that awful loss last week in Washington. Tommy, your thoughts?
This is a huge game for the Vikings and Sam Darnold. I think Darnold's come down to earth a little bit. He started off real hot, so are we going to see the old Darnold from back in the day with the Jets? I don't think so. I think they're going to go wild on this with Jefferson and everybody else. They're going to score all over the Colts, and I think it's going to be a big win for the Vikings because they know they need to win this game to stay in the NFC North there.
There's no doubt about it. Detroit 6-1, Green Bay 6-2, and those two teams play each other this week. So we knew the beating up of each other was going to come, but who would have known that the beating up of the coach would come this morning as well? My goodness. Big Cheesy says DTL will just go like this with DG hosting. Oh, Sunday's show will be the highest watched show of the year from Mark from Weekend Wagers. Ray says we might just have a new host starting Monday. LOL. Wow. That just took an awkward turn. A very awkward turn. All right. If you weren't here at the top of the hour, and many of you were not because the number actually does go like this when I host. We like to give you every single pick, 10 seconds or less, one nugget at a time. A little something we like to call the whip around. All right, Big Chuck, let's start with you. 2 plays tonight on the pitch, and I believe on the ice.
Serie Genoa versus Fiorentina, the both teams to score. This is cashed in 5 of their last 6 meetings. Then NHL, Montreal, Washington, the over 6. This is also cashed in 8 of their last 10 encounters.
Raphael, my numbers guy, go.
One thing about the Vikings, grab the 5.5 now. There's no way that will be there by kickoff. Texans team total over 20.5. Even money on this one. I just think Texans are going to have no problem scoring against that weak Jets defense. Give me Joe Mixon over 110 rushing and receiving yards, minus 115. He's rushed for over 100 yards in 3 straight games. And then Devin Booker over 2.5 threes for the Suns, minus 105. He lights it up tonight against the Clippers.
Benedict Arnold, you're up.
I'm guessing that's me. We're going to go Tulane in the membrane. Tulane, Charlotte, both teams to score first quarter, plus 130. Both teams have been looking very good lately, especially early. And then Giannis Antetokounmpo, 12-plus rebounds at minus 115. The Memphis Grizzlies stink right now. Go ahead and take these rebounds.
You clearly
Neil coach
do not know or remember your history class if you didn't know that you were Benedict Arnold.
I didn't.
And hey, I try to be a baby face every single day. I try to bring and include everybody. I try to, but no, that's going to stop today. Because if I have to bust out heel coach, I'll bust him out every damn day. Heel coach will make fun of babyface coach for forgetting, and my sincere apologies, the Howie Schraub crew play of the day. First time ever. And Howie, I know it's an F day. All I can do is apologize, and hopefully that we move on. Because we only have time for Rafi's stat of the day. Where are we going, Raphael?
I feel bad that we didn't see that stat. But the New York Jets are 4-14 against the spread in their last 18 games. Why are they a favorite? Is the public going to win tonight, or the wise guys going to win tonight? 4-14 against the spread. Wow.
Tommy, that seems like a tasty. Just take me a little. I don't know. Houston plus 1.5. Did somebody play that on the Wednesday show, perhaps?
Yeah, me. I took it, and I'm running with it, Coach, because I think Houston's going to bury the Jets tonight, and it's going to be really bad for the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers around New York City here.
Not bad. Really bad, TG.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the Texans come out, and I think they establish a run. C.J. Stroud, a little ladder opportunity on his rushing yards.
Very interesting. All right, Big Chuck, bring us home.
I think we get a 5-14.
Wow. Straight and to the point. Charles is all over the Jets tonight, laying that 1.5. Or you want to play the money line? Probably like minus 125 by game time. Who knows? Gentlemen, average job today. Average. All right. Do not forget tonight, Primetime Live, 7 Eastern on Stadium. Who knows? Heel coach might end up there as well, because I'm not feeling the love today. So I'll run this thing all by myself. I do not give a damn. But today was still fun. And understand this is time for you to go out into the world, for you to pay it forward, for you to be kind to one another. Not like what you do to me here every single day. And understand this. There's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. See, I even fooled you both. Entire crew, love them all. The man from the dirty, Big Chuck, Raphael, DG, Big Tommy C, producer, man. I am simply the coach. Try to keep this train on said track. We grind for you so we can win with you. Robert, congratulations. I love it. It's DTL every single morning right here on Stadium. Good luck.